Folks, as requested, we're going to be doing an in-depth dive into Ford stock today. I hope you're excited. We're going to find out at these levels, is Ford worth taking a look at? Is this stock worth it right now? I hope you're excited because I know I sure am. So the first thing we do when we're looking at a stock is we look at a little bit of the price action, okay? That's, I think, pretty relevant to kind of find out what you're doing. If we look year-to-date on this stock, this bad Mama Jammer is down 32.5%. Now, somewhat in line with the whole market right now. From their highs, down 42%. You look over the last year, this is a stock that is actually up 26% over the last year, which is outperforming the mass market by a large margin. And over the last 5 years, this has not had all that much movement. Only 31% up in the last 5 years. This was a dead money stock for a very large time period here. This is a very much, we're talking a flat trader all the way until February of 2021. This thing was trading flat from 2017 onward. Flat. 4 years of flat. That's right, folks. They only recently have seen great share appreciation here after this, the dip they saw in 2020 because of the electrification push. There's been a lot of hype around them regarding electric vehicles and what the future means for them, and that really helped skyrocket the stock up to the levels of $25.87 a share, all-time highs. Look, this thing has been a dead money stock before they got into electric vehicles. And since then, we've seen massive pullback, as you see, down 40+%. So where does that leave us with this stock? Well, then I think we're going to get into a little bit of the statistics of this bad boy. Okay, worth mentioning. This is a stock that is trading at levels of cheapness that I have very rarely seen in the market. We are talking about a company with a trailing PE of $3.18, 3.18 trailing PE. That's right, 3.18. That's ridiculously low. And a forward PE ratio of 6.84. Holy cow! I mean, what do you want me to say there? This is a absolutely, by the numbers, a dirt cheap stock. We get further down, price to expected growth, 0.3. Trading cheap. Price to sales, 0.4. 0.4 price to sales right now. This is a company that is trading at valuations that are really beyond absurd. I don't think we can deny that. Now, whether the stock's a buy or not isn't necessarily just an indicator just off of these. We have to look at what future prospects look like for this company and what really they've been going through to see why they're trading at these levels. Because that's worth mentioning, right? Ooh, that was a great neck crack. So we see dirt cheap valuations. I mean, literal dirt cheap valuations. That's what they are. Then we take a look at the revenue line, right? You can see the revenue here. I prefer to look at it via this chart here. Via Statista, it's great stuff. Macro trends, good stuff here. You look at trailing 12-month revenue, and this company has not recovered from their pre-pandemic levels when you look at that from this perspective. They haven't recovered there, and it doesn't really look like necessarily that they kind of are. It looks like they've nearly leveled out, and we're talking levels that they saw back in 2015. So we saw a massive revenue decline here in 2020, and since then it hasn't seen all that much massive growth. I mean, again, we can shorten this horizon to a 3-year perspective, and you see there hasn't been much change overall when you look at this. The first pandemic quarter being showing the trailing 12-month at $130 billion. And now we're sitting around $134 billion. So we're talking about around $5 billion, maybe at best, growth in revenue over really a time period of a couple of years. So there's not much revenue growth going in right now. So that's something you have to consider on why this stock might be trading dirt cheap. Then I think it's worth looking at where do we expect the automotive market to be? And well, according to analysis, which look, these guys are never right on this. I just want to preface this by saying they're never right. 2030 outlook is expected to be around 122 million units. In 2020, it consisted of 85 million units. So it's massive growth from 2020, but this is over a 10-year stack, and not necessarily everything will be going to Ford. 3% compound annualized growth rate. Now, a lot of this is predicted to be electric vehicles, and that's one thing that Ford's certainly doing right now. We'll look at their suite of vehicles and see what they're doing in that aspect. But if you look at the automotive market share, Ford typically hovers around 5% of the total automotive market share. So out of these 20 billion vehicle growth potentially, according to these analyst estimates, which are never accurate, but they could claim around 5% of those vehicles. So that is pretty large for them on the grand scale, especially when you talk about a more expensive vehicles that are these electric vehicles. I mean, you look at the Ford Lightning, expensive vehicle, F-150 Lightning. But most recently, we kind of saw that trend here too. Total vehicles declined 10% for the month of April for Ford. Not a great start to the month at all. Not a great start. Truck sales down, car sales down. Electrified vehicles did show a 50% increase to 16,000, and SUVs actually were up. So, not a great line, all things considered. Electrified vehicles up 55% in retail sales, and that's due to strength in the Mach-E and E-Transit, which we will certainly look at. And they finally have started shipping the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is the big winner for them. I mean, this is their big push right now. If you look at the E-Transit, which we'll look at here, 62% increase in March, and the Mach-E had its best monthly sales performance since it was launched, up 95%. So people are interested in electric vehicles. They really are. And in part, this is due to an effort by the government to push up gas prices. That's something, some of you people need to understand this, right? This is 100% a coordinated effort by the government right now to increase gas prices. And they're not shy about telling you that. They blatantly have not opposed to the idea of increasing gas prices and keeping them up to get people to buy more electric vehicles. So this does both hurt and benefit Ford, right? Because they have traditional ICE vehicles, and they've also got these new EVs. So there's positives and negatives here. But overall, we see the auto market really declining. I mean, U.S. sales down 10%. So that is definitely a concerning factor. And we'll look at some of these vehicles and see what Ford has to offer. Well, first we look at, obviously they have a tab of everything here. I mean, this is great. So as far as electrification, on an SUV standpoint, they don't really have a whole lot right now from an electrification standpoint. They do have the 2022 Escape, which is hybrid available, and the Explorer, which is hybrid available too, out of the new ones. The other ones are all traditional ICE vehicles. One thing that I find quite attractive here is the 2022 Bronco. That is a vehicle that I find quite interesting. I like it a lot. It's a reimagined classic. The Sport, not nearly as much as the traditional Bronco, but I like it a lot. I do like the Ford Bronco. But again, this doesn't fit into their electrification model. Now, they do have the Mach-E, as we mentioned before, which is the all-electric SUV that they tout. And look, it's a good-looking vehicle. I mean, I'll just preface it with that. Let's see if we can get some other images of the Mach-E. I think it's a pretty beautiful vehicle. Again, you can see this short video here showing what it has to offer. This is probably the ugliest color of a vehicle I've ever seen. Why would you choose that? But it's a sleek-looking vehicle, and for an SUV, we'll take it. Now, is it a Mustang? No. I don't know why Mustang's in the name. I think they might have done better without even having Mustang in the name, because it's not a Mustang. It's just not. But it is a sleek-looking vehicle. I'll give them that. And it's really was their first electric vehicle that they pushed. we look in the trucks and van sector, and this is where we get a little bit more exciting, okay? So as far as hybrid availability, you've got the Maverick and the traditional F-150. Now, as far as all-electric, we see the Ford F-150 Lightning. That's right, we've looked at this one before. Very expensive vehicle, starting at $40,000, while the normal F-150 starts at $30,000. What does the F-150 Lightning have going for it? Well, hey, look, they show you right here. Look at this. The frunk, I think they call them a frunk, the front trunk. That's pretty exciting, right? And they also have a bed to them because the battery is obviously on the bottom. So you get the frunk, which I guess at this point you don't even need to design a car with the frunk, but they do it. Spin for me, Daddy. Spin. Can I spin? No, it spins with the mouse. Oh, I wish I would spin with my cursor. I wanted to treat it like Mario from Mario 64. So the F-150 Lightning, obviously they tout here. You can plug it into your house, connect it into your house, and you can power your house in case you're at a power outage. That's pretty exciting, right? That's pretty darn exciting. And it's just an overall, your traditional Ford F-150 experience, but with an electric vehicle, right? And one thing really cool, I was hoping they'd show it here. Yeah. I guess they're not really going to show it here. What's really cool is the ability to, there's plugs in the bed of the truck that you can use that can power your equipment. I mean, it depends. And again, they mentioned the work site here, but you can actually power your power equipment with this vehicle. You can charge power. You can bring a blender to a camping trip if you want. You could do whatever you'd like. You can bring whatever you'd like, and the Ford F-150 Lightning can power that. That's what's pretty exciting about this thing, and they don't, for some reason, show it. I don't know why it's not. It's probably somewhere on this page, but I can't find it. Shoot. Obviously, a massive touchscreen in the middle. I mean, massive. Look at this lady. She looks like a Smurf compared to this touchscreen. Looks like a 92-inch tablet for some reason. Why is it so big? I don't know. That's also what she said. But, look, I'm not the one that said it. She did. And then if you look at the electrified suite, this is where we get into some bangers again. As you mentioned, we mentioned the hybrid ones. Some of these are hybrid standard. The Maverick, which is a very cheap truck for them. It's hybrid, that's right. The Escape SE plug-in hybrid, which is a plug-in hybrid, obviously, as they mentioned in the title. The big thing for me here is going to be the 2022 E-Transit. This is an all-electric work van. And this is big, as a lot of people are going to be going, a lot of companies, as they're grandstanding, as they love to do, are going to be switching to electric vehicle suites because the government is forcing them to reduce carbon emissions that are presented by, that's right, burning fossil fuels. So they're going to be forcing, the government will be forcing these companies to get electric vehicles, especially you're seeing in Europe right now pretty massively, and you'll see it more and more here in America, and more of, in America, it's more of a grandstanding type thing where they're trying to say, we're the cool guys, we have the electric vans. But that's where Ford benefits massively, this E-Transit. So that's one thing I'd like to throw out there. And it starts at $46,000. This is a pricey vehicle. It's the priciest really range of Fords out there. I mean, it's crazy. These electric vehicles, they're all expensive and cheaper than Teslas. Cheaper than Teslas, folks. This Mach-E, cheaper than Teslas. So you have to keep that in consideration. So what does Ford have going for it? Obviously, what they'll want you to see is electric vehicles going forward. And I think that is a big market for them to possibly capture. I think they'll do a great job in that because they've gotten a good head start and they have the brands that are interesting, right? I think the E-Transit is a much bigger thing than we're giving it consideration for. I think the F-150 Lightning will do incredibly well. It's the most beloved brand in America of trucks, and now they're bringing electric to it. Not that that market necessarily cares as much about it, but this introduces a whole new market into the F-150 brand. So that's one thing that I really like about it that people aren't considering. So auto sales, I don't feel great about over the next year. So Ford, potentially could be dead money over the next year. I'm just throwing that one out there. What I will say, though, is this company has reinstated the dividend, and they're able to support that dividend now, and they will be increasing it over the next year to pre-pandemic levels, in my opinion. They've got the money to do it, and they will be doing it, and it'll attract more people to the stock, and that'll be attracting more people than you'll see necessarily than the car data. I like this stock on a long-term basis because of the incredibly low valuation on this stock. I mean, it's dirt cheap. You know you're not getting a bad deal with Ford at these levels. You're just not. Unfortunately, the stock just historically has not given people a lot of capital gain. I do think the only thing that could do that here is a big push in electric, unfortunately, just because trends are how you really make it, folks. Being trendy is a big way to make it. I do like Ford long term. I think it's a good thing to have in your portfolio to earn a dividend on. I don't necessarily expect a ridiculous amount of capital appreciation on it, but it's trading dirt cheap, and it could potentially, even if it went to a price to sales of 1, we're talking about doubling the share price. So that's what I have for you today. Ford stock, I'm in on it right now. I like it at these levels. I do, because it's down pretty massively. I think there's plenty of room to go down even further. I'm going to preface that, but this is a stock you need to hold for a while, and I don't think you'll be upset with it. I hope you have a great day.